represent a set of squares of natural numbers from say 1 to 10, I can write it concisely in set notation like x square such that x belongs to the set 1, 2, 3 up to 10. So as you can see, this represents the set of squares of numbers 1 to 10. In other words, this particular thing represents set 1, 4, 9, 16 and so on up to 100. Python also allows us to write lists or create lists in a very similar way. So in Python I can say within square bracket x times x for x in range 1, 11. So in this case range 1, 11 produces a sequence of values 1, 2 up to 10. Now x times x will compute x square for each of the values 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So as a result we get a list that is 1, 4, 9, 16 and so on up to 100. Now note that the syntax of list comprehension makes it very convenient to create huge lists. For example, if I have to say a list of squares of numbers from 1 to 1000 or maybe million. So list comprehension, it consists of square bracket which contains an expression. The variables in the expression get their value from a for clause followed by 0 or more for or if clauses. So here are some more examples. Suppose I have a list called nums which consists of few positive and negative numbers. List comprehension allows me to get all the positive numbers from this list. So I can say positive list pos is all x in nums where x is greater than 0. So in Python I can say x for x in nums if x is greater than 0. So what happens in this case, x gets bound to every element in nums which is -1, then 25, then 9 and -30. However, the if clause filters out certain x's, so we are left with only those x which are greater than 0, and therefore if you print pos we get a value 25, 9 and 5. I can make more complicated expressions. For example, suppose I only want to square the negative numbers in the list nums, then I can say x square or x times x for x in nums if x is less than 0. So this time x is picked from nums wherever it is less than 0, and the expression that we use to create list is x times x. So what we get is square of -1 and square of -30, and therefore the resulting list is 1 and 900. We can have even more complicated expressions. So for example, we can create a list of tuples where every tuple consists of a number and its absolute value. So for every x in the list nums, we are computing a tuple x, comma, absolute value of x. Remember, abs is a built-in function in Python that gives absolute value of x. So in this case, the list that is returned is containing certain tuples like -1, 1, 25, 25, 9, 9 and so on. So how does list comprehension takes place? How is the list created? In other words, how does list comprehension is evaluated? So I will explain it with an example. Suppose we have this expression x comma y for x in 1, 2, 3 for y in some other list, and if x times x equal to y. So what we are doing is we are creating a pair of x comma y where x is drawn from one list, y is drawn from another list, provided y is same as x square. So the resulting list, as you can see, we have square of 2 as 4 in the second list and square of 3 as 9 in the second list. So the resulting list is 2, 4 and 3, 9. So it consists of 2 tuples, 2, 4, 3, 9. Okay. So the way list comprehension is evaluated is as if you have written these fors and ifs in the same sequence but in a nested fashion. So the values are produced as if the expression is for x in 1, 2, 3, for y in 12, 9, 27, 4, 50. If x times x equal to y, then produce the pair x comma y. Note that this is just a simplification to make you understand how this comprehension works. In actual execution, the pair x comma y has to be appended to a list. That part I have not shown here, but just to see how these pairs are generated, we can convert the complicated list comprehension expression into nested fors and ifs. So in this case, the pairs that we get are 2, 4 and 3, 9. And if we use a list and then keep appending these pairs there, then we will get the resulting list as desired. The thing to note here is the order of fors and ifs is maintained. If you change the order, you will get values in a different order in the final list.